What's going on, everyone? In today's video, I'm just going to go over some of the books that I've sold on my Amazon FBA business. And I'm going to go over kind of just some of the day-to-day activities like replanning books, kind of looking at, why books sold. And yeah, so I think it could be a really cool video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Joji. I'm a high school teacher and I sell books on Amazon. I do that as a side hustle so that I can reach financial independence earlier in life. I have a free Discord down below if you're kind of new, just want to check out how this Amazon to Amazon, eBay to Amazon flipping game works out. But with that said, let's get right into the video. All right, so over here on my Amazon Seller Central page, you can see that today we've had $805 in sales, which is pretty good. You can see yesterday was actually the worst day in a while. It was $160. That was definitely not a great day, but you can kind of see generally what I'm doing. Right now, I'm like between, $500 and $800 per day, and that's because we're not in textbook season. During textbook season, definitely I'm doing much more than that, but still really happy because a lot of the books I'm selling are very, very profitable, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm gonna click the Manage Orders page here, and you can see that I've sold quite a few books, starting 25 minutes ago, an hour ago, 8 hours ago. The first one here, the Final Fantasy box set. This is actually a really cool sell. Now, this is something that, a lot of people might not have bought because it was not cheap. You can see over here on eBay, I actually bought it over a year ago on May 23rd for $165, and it sold for $300. And a lot of people would go like, wow, that's a long time to wait for a book. But, the real reason why I decided to pick this book up was because, my idea for buying books is like, I want to take my money and invest in an asset. And this is a great example of something that I think was going to hold value and retain value over the long haul. So if you look at the keep a chart of this book, it's basically been selling for well over $200, even up to $300, even into 2022. And even though the sales kind of been, started slowing down a little bit, this is, about a very, major video game brand. It's a collector's block sale. I didn't see how this would lose value. And it was, been out of print for a while, so it actually took longer than I thought it would take to sell. But we plug in the numbers into seller ramp here, we sold for $300 and bought it for $165, so we made a $74 profit and 45% ROI. So this is something that I thought would have sold a little bit faster, but again, the my thought process behind buying these longer tail books is like, am I actually taking my money and investing in an asset? And if I am, then I'm happy with that. And obviously that's a better return than I could have gotten in the stock market with that money. Now, you could have argued that I could have bought other books for a little bit cheaper price and done better. Probably that's true. I probably could have done, but at some point as well, like once you start, building up enough capital, it's actually kind of gets hard to spend all the money that you have to spend. So like for me, I follow the profit first system and I have money allocated in an account called cost of goods sold. And, sometimes I find that it's difficult to spend all that money. So sometimes I'm willing to invest a little bit more money for something that, I think it's still going to perform well. Now, again, this took a little bit longer than I thought would, sell, but still worked out great. And I'll move on to the next book. All right, so we have a couple of these Fred's at Barney's New York cookbooks. These are great books that are going to do really well during Christmas. I bought these for right around the $20 mark. I sold, 2 copies to the same person for $60. Here's another book that, Ford Treasure Favorite Recipes. I bought it for maybe $5 to $10 on Amazon, flipped it for $40. And this is actually crazy right here. So if you didn't know, my good friend Victor Gallegos and I, we teamed up to make a 250 Christmas book list of seasonal books that you could flip. And, while that list is now closed, it will be available next year if you guys want to buy it. One thing that we're interested in doing is adding some other media categories like CDs and DVDs. But what's crazy is that this isn't a CD or DVD. This is actually a vinyl record. And we sold this for $45. I think I picked this up for about $10 or $11 on Amazon here. And yeah, this is just a great flip, to be honest with you. If you take a look at the Keep It chart here, you can see over the last 3,200 days, this is something that sees great seasonality right around Christmas. And the way that I know it shows seasonality is that the sales rank gets very, very low during, November, December, which is stereotypically when, Christmas is. And so in the past, I knew that in used condition, this can sell up to $45 because that's kind of what the lowest used price was when we saw sales rank drops. Interestingly, Amazon was on the listing for right around $18 for a couple years. Then they've been out, and this previous year, you could actually see that there just wasn't really anyone in stock. There's basically a collectible offer and a couple used offers, like anywhere between $60 and $100, and basically by mid-November, all those were out of stock, and there was literally nobody on the listing. So, when this came around for right around $10, $11, I felt like picking up a copy would be a good idea, especially because the offer counts are still really low. And, I was able to sell this for $45. If we plug that into the seller amp here, it looks like the buy cost was $11.98. So you made an $18.70 profit. It's not even Christmas, guys. It's October, so I wasn't even expecting this to sell now, but obviously I'll take that. Now, the downside about seasonal vinyls and CDs and DVDs is that it's going to be harder to find a prep center that's willing to do that. Now, I have a prep center for books, Central Virginia Prep. I have a video on my YouTube channel if you want to check out them. Great prep center. They don't do CDs, vinyls, DVDs, but so I had to prep this myself. But this was a great flip, and it's just something I wanted to expand into. I want to know if was it possible to do it, and apparently it is. All right, so we're going to keep scrolling down, and the next book that we have is actually a very scary witch story. So this is actually a Halloween book, and Halloween's right around the corner. Halloween's going to be here in a few weeks now, and I was able to sell mine for, what was it, $25. So I was able to pick it up for, right around like $1.58 plus shipping. You can actually see that the used offer count's already going down, and and you can see that, over the last few years, this is definitely inflated in price, up to $15 to $20. Actually, I bought this for $2.97. So this is something that I would have bought on eBay. A lot of eBay sellers do like buy 3, get 1 free, or buy 4, get 1 free. So got this one for $2.97. We flipped it for a total of $25.29. We sent it to a prep center, never touched it, made $10 profit just on that one book. A really awesome flip there for Halloween. So there's tons of Halloween books, even Halloween CDs as well. I think there's one I might be able to show you today as well. Now, the next book that was really fascinating is this Kelly Blue book. March 2017, it sold for $200, which is crazy. And I bought it literally like less than a month ago on September 10th. And, I'll show you the view order. You can check all my videos. Like I'm very transparent and show you kind of what I bought the book for. And I don't want you to assume that these are made up. So, here's an example of, me buying the book for, $19.84. If we scroll over here to Amazon, you can see why I bought this. Basically, I was tracking this book for $25. It was right around $30. Then it dropped down below my tracker actually to $15.84, and that's why I picked it up. And the reason why I had set a tracker is because I had seen that in the past this book had done really well, and it was generally out of stock for a lot of the time. So this is a book that's like, okay, you see some sales range drops in the $50, $60 range, and then you've also seen periods of time where it's been super cheap, like down here is right around $10. So it's like, okay, you have a book that seems to have a lot of demand. Like you can see back when Amazon was selling it new, it had insane demand at the sales range, and kind of been in and out of stock for a while. There has been previous sales at a really high price. So I was like, I feel like I could track it for that amount. I picked it up for $19.84, and by no means was I expecting to sell this book for $199. That's just what my prep center sets the price at when they list it. And I just didn't reprice this book fast enough that someone actually bought it. So this is a book that, looking at kind of the sold, the most recent sold comps, I probably would have listed like in the $50 to $75 range. But hey, I'll take it. Awesome win. Made $141 profit, and a great deal for sure. So if you didn't know how to track products, basically you can just come up here to this track product feature, and you can input a price and update tracking. You basically get notified with an email or a Chrome web push notification, or you can get a Telegram message. So one of those, and really great flip there. Our next book is actually a high school book. This is kind of a late bloomer for the high school books. We sold it for $95. It's a teacher edition. So just one PSA, a lot of people think you can't buy teacher's editions, and I'm here to tell you there are tons of really great teacher edition listings. So let's clear it up. You don't want to sell a teacher's edition on a student edition listing, just like you wouldn't want to sell a student edition on a teacher edition listing. So those are two separate things, right? A student edition versus a teacher edition. But if you get your hands on some teacher editions of some books, they can do really well, especially high school books. College books usually not so much, but high school books tend to do great. So here's one that looks like I bought for $19.98, bought on August 6th. You can see there's the proof right there, $19.98. There's the picture of the book, and we were able to flip it for $95. So this high school book made a $47 profit on, which is amazing. And you can kind of see how every year this ebbs and flows. It gets cheap in the off season, gets pretty expensive during high school textbook season. And this strategy of sourcing called seasonal books, I learned from my good buddy Victor Gallegos. So make sure you check out any one of these 3 podcast interviews I did with him. He kind of just blew my mind about seasonal books, and I took some action with what he told me to do, and now I can tell you, $47 profit just on that one book. And I'm pretty sure I may have sold this book multiple times. We can click the orders button and we can see if that's true or not. Okay, yeah, so we actually sold this book 3 times, 79, 72, and 95. So last time was actually a great one. So these ones are probably made in the $20 profit range, but that's just one high school book we made over $100 profit on. And there's literally like thousands of high school books that can do really well. So I think that model is absolutely amazing. Make sure you join Victor Gallegos' Facebook group, and really great flip there. Let's go on to the next one. This next book is really fascinating. We sold for $199. sold this 3 days ago, right? And this is a book that we were into super cheap as well. I mean, we bought this book for $9.90 basically a month ago, September 10th. So we sold it within a month, never even touched the book. You can see there's the purchase price for $9.90. If I put in the sales price of $199.99, made a $150 profit on a $10 investment, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. And again, this is a book I was not expecting to sell for $200. My prep center lists all my books for that, and I go back and reprice it. Again, this is a book I didn't reprice yet, and it had sold for $200. So because I bought this for $9, it's probably looking to sell for between like $40 to $70. But if we take a look at the Keepa chart of this book, one thing that you'll notice is that if we go back to 2017, 2018, this book has had some multiple sales range drops in the $40 range. A little bit more recently, $79, $97, $49. Really all I'm doing is overlapping the lowest use price with the sales range drop and trying to get an idea of what the book sold for. So, it looks like in April, there's the sales here for $95. Looks like, before the price jumped up to $3,000, which probably didn't sell at that, it was $95 as well. So this is a book that, here's another example. Here's a book, the same book was $450. It dropped down to $74, and then there's like an immediate sales range drop. So, when this book got super cheap, right around $5 plus shipping, I was like, all right, I think this is a book that is going to hold value. I mean, it came out in 1986. It's about something very, 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 very niche. The Dictionary of Scottish Immigrants to Canada Before Confederation. Like what? Like, can you get more niche than that? Like, that is a super niche book. Niche books sell really well, and we made an amazing profit on this. Again, I was probably looking to sell between like $40, which would have a $14 profit, to $60, $31 profit, but I'll take it, $199. It happens sometimes, and actually it's funny, it happened twice, like back to back in the same day, which was pretty awesome. All right, so we have some other really great sales here, and I can't go over all of them because there are tons of books, but let's go over this one, Spelling Mastery. This one also sold for $199.99. So literally sold the same day that it checked in. And again, we bought this just about a month ago, September 11th. We bought this one for $17.97, sold it for $199.99. So we made a $140 profit on this one book. And let's go down the Keepa chart and figure out why. So this is a book I found with Keepa Deals. You can see that there was a large one-time drop. It basically dropped from $249 down to $13, but the sales rank at the time was about 2.5 million. So, 2.5 million ranked book, doesn't sell too much, but you can see that when it has sold, it's been north of $200. And there have been times when it's been cheaper in the $40 to $50 range, still with multiple sales. This is something that looks to be very old to me. And so I felt like, this came out in 2007. It looks like a homeschool book to me. It did really well. Again, I wasn't expecting the sales for $200. I bought it for $17. And, that's one really important lesson. Like, the money should be made on the purchase price. It shouldn't be made on the sales price. So, it's awesome that I sold it for $199, but I didn't have to sell it for $199 to make money. And the reason for that is because I bought it at a historically very low price. And so this is another book that I know doesn't really sell very often. So it's something that I would have lowered its price to try to get to move quicker. So what I mean by that is, this is a book that over the last year, the cheapest it had really ever been was like $195. And yeah, it had been cheaper for a moment when I bought it, but otherwise it was not really ever available. So for a book like this that I have seen sell for upwards of $100 to $200, I probably would have priced it more in like the $50 range, $14 profit to $75 range, $35 profit, put my min and max there. But again, sometimes books check in for the $199 and then you reprice it, or you try to reprice them, but if you don't get to them fast enough, sometimes they can sell. So that was actually 3 books in just one day. That was quite fascinating. It was kind of like boom, 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 right back. I mean, so on those 3 books alone, we made well over $300, which is kind of crazy. All right, the next book here, we sold for $100, Architecture at Bruce Goff. And here's another stereotypical Keepa Deals pickup. Keepa Deals, again, I've tons of videos on the channel if you want to look at that. I also have a course that I'm coming out with here somewhat in the future that you can take a look at as well. And I hope it shows that, just buying a few of these books can literally pay for, can give you like insane returns, right? So here's another example of a book that had a 4 million sales rank, which you'd think, again, why would you buy a 4 million sales rank book? But again, if you look at the last 3,500 days, this is something that has consistently held value north of $40 with sales. It doesn't sell all the time, but it had a recent sales in the $50 to $119 range. So I bought this one for $16.66. You can see there's the proof that I bought it, and I bought it in July, sold for $99. $8.99, made a $58 profit on that book as well. All right, so that's kind of the selling side, what's been going on. I want to show you some of the books I've been tracking with Keepa. So I'm over here in Keepa, I'm looking at my recent notifications, and kind of what I like to do is just look at some of the books I'm tracking. You can see that, 90 minutes ago, 37 minutes ago, 53 minutes ago, things have popped up, and this is the first book that I decided to buy. So, The Legend of Zelda, it's funny that we sold the Legend of Zelda collector set earlier, today when I just showed you. But this is something that has held really great sales in the $40 range, buy box even up to the $100 range at times as well, but definitely selling upwards of $50 or $60. Now, the reason why it was kind of probably selling for those prices is because the offer count was really low, and you can actually see that the offer count is starting to rise. But the good news is that in the past, offer count has been at similar points, and the used price has been above what it was at this point, so $11.75. I did end up picking up a couple copies of this because I think even at really high offer counts, this can sell to $40 to $50. And I think this is also has some seasonality with Christmas as well. I can see that this is something that would do well. So bought a couple copies for right around like $15 to $16 all in. And I think we'll be able to flip those for like $45 to $50. Now, not all of these, things that I'm tracking, I'm going to decide to buy. A lot of them, I'm going to go back in and stop tracking, update tracking, things like that. But here's another great book, Breaking News, God Has a Plan. And this is a book that I've sold before, and you can see it just dropped right now. So it was $36, then it dropped to $30, then to $4, and then to $2, all within the span of a few hours. And you can see that this book has had multiple sales rate drops of over $50 in the past. I've actually bought this book before and sold it before as well. So let's go ahead and look at the Amazon webpage. And you can see I just bought it again twice for right around, I think like $7 or $8. But what we can do is actually go to my orders page, and we can go ahead and see what I bought it for in the past. And we're just going to go ahead and search Breaking News. So you can see I bought it on June 1st. And let's click order details. And you can actually see I bought it for $20. So I actually bought it for significantly more than what I bought it for the next two times around. Yeah, it looks like I bought it for $11.29 this time, but what I wanted to do is scroll down to the orders page. This is a book that I would expect to sell for $40 to $50, right? Based on what I'm seeing with Keepa. And the cool news is I actually did flip it a month ago for $50. So here's a book that I can go back and replan. So, I probably found this book with Keepa deals. Then I was able to successfully sell it. And then I decided to track it. So I'm stacking the Keepa features, right? So basically it's three features that I use a lot. That's Keepa Track product feature, Keepa deals, Keepa product finder. And they all synergize really well with each other. And this is a great example of one that I found on Keepa deals, then decided to track, and now I'm able to replan it. I was able to pick up 2 copies for a really cheap price. And I think, while they're not going to sell tomorrow, they're definitely going to sell. And each of these should make me at least $20 profit. And that's the bread and butter of this business, guys. It's every time you sell a book, don't forget about it. Like, if you bought it and sold it profitably, it's possible that you could do that again. And that's why once you've sold thousands and thousands of books like I have, you can go back and start tracking a lot of those books, and you can start building a replens list, and you can start, buying books over and over again. And I can't tell you how important they are, because once you have a replen, that's a book that very few people have their eyes on, because they might not have the data that you have. They might not know what a good buy price is or what a good sales price is. And so sure, someone might have come across this book right now with Keepa deals, but they might be hesitant to buy it because they don't have the proven track record of selling the book again. So, replens are really, really important. And I can't tell you how important it is. It's really going to make the backbone of your business is, can you actually buy books over and over again and then resell them over and over again? And in my Amazon course that's coming out not too long in the future here, I'll show you plenty of books that I've replen and say, hey, track these books, because these are books that I've sold time and time again. There's some books I've sold 10 plus times, and they just continue to be great books. So I don't want this video to be too long, so we'll end it there. I hope you guys are having a great day, and join the Discord if you're not in there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.